I cannot even express how stunning this is. The President of the United States was engaged in a conspiracy. That's the allegation. I'm so disappointed in Barack Obama. He puts himself up there as a scandal-free president. Now, look how great it was for 8 years. That guy on the screen, he was lying to us. And he was part of concocting a conspiracy to deceive the American people. It doesn't get any worse than that. And how many times did I get a lecture from the Democrats about nobody's above the law, nobody's above the law? They all said it. They drove it home every time. And we'll see where they are now. They're going to run for the hills. And Jonathan Turley is right. He is absolutely right. Where is the intellectual curiosity? Where are they going in terms of returning their Pulitzer Prizes and all the awards that they won and patting themselves on the back on how great they were on getting Donald Trump? They were all lying to us, and they got snookered, and they should be held accountable. And I want to see some people in handcuffs. They have to be held accountable, or it'll happen again. I cannot.
Big news, big news on the Obama scandal front. Tulsi Gabbard has doubled down. Between her and Chuck Grassley have released a double dose of what was going on in the Obama-Clinton era. So we've got Tulsi Gabbard that showed up as the guest of honor at the Carolyn Leavitt press conference today, the White House press conference. We are going to listen to her remarks as she absolutely goes scorched earth on Obama and the Obama administration and how they rigged everything against President Trump and ultimately against the American people. At the same time, we've got Grassley, who has released what is called the Clinton annex, which is thumbnail drives that the FBI has been in possession of since before the 2016 election. And we're going to dive right into those. Thanks everybody for rolling up. Really appreciate you being here in Courageous Media. Gene Nunez Tovern, first in from Rhode Island, up in the Northeast. Yogi Bear fan here, Motor Bronx here from the Netherlands. Welcome in, everybody. So let's dive right in to this press conference, to the presser, the White House press briefing that Tulsi Gabbard showed up for in her power white suit, as she had some things to say about the Obama administration and this entire Russiagate nonsense. Before we do, please smash that like button for me. Turn on the notifications. It really helps us in the YouTube algorithm if you subscribe, if you comment, and if you share this. So please do so. And right now, let's dive right in.
Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
That is so important. They knew it was false. It was contrived from the get-go. It's not a mistake. It's not an oops. They did this from the get-go, which means every time Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Susan Rice, Strzok, any of them showed up before Congress, they're guilty of perjury. Now, it looks like Tulsi Gabbard's found a way around the statute of limitations on a lot of this stuff. Excuse me. Because by framing it as an ongoing criminal conspiracy, there is no statute of limitations. It's absolutely amazing. Here we go.
The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people. I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence Report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Putin clearly had a preference at this point. If he had a preference for anybody, it was for Clinton. But it sounds like, based on all of their evidence, that Putin had a preference for no one, really. He was just being pragmatic. He knew, based on all the polling, he knew, like everybody else knew, that somehow Clinton was going to win. And so he had damning stuff on her that he was holding back until after the election. If he really wanted Trump to win, all that would have been released. The fact that she's probably looped out on anxiety medication, all of the damning bribery and pay for play information out of the State Department to get people to support her for a presidential campaign, all of that would have been released. But none of it was, because Putin was not in for Trump. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows this was a complete and utter lie. It was a fabrication by Obama, by Brennan, by Clapper, by Clinton, undergirded by Comey and everybody else. And absolutely, you are correct. Biden was absolutely in on it as Obama's VP, and as essentially the one that they installed in 2020 in order to try to clean all this up in the 4 years that he was in office. Scott W., you are correct. We want accountability. We want arrests. I want perp walks. I want the media standing outside their door when the SWAT team goes in, busts the door down, and they are walked out in handcuffs. Now, I said that there was another part to this story. She mentioned it briefly, the Clinton annex. This was released by Senator Grassley. And this is the details of the Clinton annex. So Senator Chuck Grassley just released newly declassified annex from the DOJ OIG report detailing disgraced former FBI Director James Comey handling of Clinton's private email server, which is in direct violation of all the U.S. code on handling classified information. Now, they obtained thumb drives from a source during the Clinton investigation. But then FBI Director James Comey, as well as Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, remember all these names, failed to perform additional targeted searches of the drives, even though they contained information relevant to the inquiry. They didn't fail to, in as so much as, oh, they forgot, oh, they were incompetent, oh, they botched it. No, they actively covered up what they knew was a mountain of crimes by Clinton. Crimes against U.S. code, violations of State Department policy, U.S. government policy, records, the archives, the U.S. National Archives policy, from the destruction of emails, the destruction of servers, the peddling of classified information on unsecure servers, having a private email server in the first place. And the big part about this is, the big scandal in this is, because we have these thumb drives, we now know that President Obama sent and received emails to then Secretary Clinton on this private email server. And it would have been no mistake. It was not sent. They weren't emails sent to her official, State Department email, because that would have been on the secure State Department server. No. These would have been sent to whatever one of 13 email addresses that she used. And so he absolutely knew that she was using an unsanctioned, illegal, private email, unsecured server. And so one of the reasons why the FBI had to bury this story, there could be no real investigation. There could be no depositions. There could be no nothing, because then it would come out that these included in these unsecured emails were emails to and from President Obama. And he stated under oath, I believe it was under oath, correct me if I'm wrong, that the first time he heard about her private email server was when the FBI investigation revealed it. No, Obama knew about it from the get-go. So this scandal just gets bigger. You've got treasonous conspiracy on the one side, plus on the other side, you've got essentially another set of treasonous conspiracy to cover up Clinton's crimes and to try to get her elected. This is only going to get deeper. It's only going to get worse, and it's going to further fracture the Democrat Party. This could spell the absolute death of the Democrat Party, the end of the Obama, Clinton, Biden era, the complete fracturing of that weird coalition that is called the Democrat Party. I think we are watching in real time the death of the Democrat Party, and it's a great thing to see as they skew farther left, thinking that their saviors, their leaders, are going to be Sandy Ocasio and Ilhan Omar and Mamdani from New York, and this other knucklehead Omar from Minnesota. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to lose the entire center left, but I could be wrong because, again, most of the Democrat Party is just way left. It's not even center left anymore. Let me know what you think in the comments. Scott W., you are correct. It is nothing short of treason. CNN, Lynn, CNN cut the feed when Tulsi was giving her evidence. Wow, I did not know that. Okay, interesting. All right, I want to pivot here. We've got two other major stories that I want to get to. One is an absolute laugh along, but first, let's get to some more winning. Major winning on the part of Donald Trump. We've got Trump making major announcements from the White House about the economy and about trade. Let's dive right in because the winning is great, folks. Let's check this out from Scott Besson. Before we do, please like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, if you like this, please share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Here we go.
15% for Japan for reciprocal tariffs for autos. That is a different kind of deal, but because the Japanese proposed a very innovative solution. We've been working with them for months, the trade team, myself, Ambassador Greer, Secretary Lutnick, and they came to us with the idea of a Japan-U.S. partnership where they are going to provide equity, credit guarantees, and funding for major projects in the U.S. So they got the 15% rate because they were willing to provide this innovative financing mechanism. 15%
Your message to the people of the Philippines.
We love them. And we respect their leader greatly. This is their leader. Thank you. And he's very tough on negotiating, but that's okay. It'll work out. I think we will.
Fox News alert, another bad day to be a panicking. Trump scored a hat trick. He crossed 3 countries off his tariff hit list. You ready? First, it was the Philippines and Indonesia, the magic number 19% for both countries. And then the big one, the Japanese. $550 billion invested here and thousands of jobs created. And they'll be paying a 15% rate. Turns out Toyota tariffs work.
I just signed the largest trade deal in history. I think maybe the largest deal in history with Japan. And that was done with Japan. They had their top people here, and we worked on it long and hard, and it's a great deal for everybody. I always say it has to be great for everybody. It's a great deal. A lot different from the deals in the past, I can tell you that. But we're doing really well as a country. We're strong. We have a lot of money flowing in.
Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? All right. I don't know what happened there. All right, if everybody can hear me now, I think we got the audio back. I don't know what YouTube did there. Anyway, or what I did. It could be something that I did, possibly. But I was just saying that this is a phenomenal deal for the United States of America. 3 major trade deals, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan, all paying between 15 and 20% tariffs to enter the US market while we pay 0. Now, Japan got it down to 15% because of their $550 billion investment. This is absolutely amazing stuff. This is the US winning. In every single trade deal that we've done now, our bilateral trade partner is paying a US access fee and we are not paying. Now, in the case of this China deal, if this is true, we're paying 10%, but they're paying 55%. It's crazy stuff. This is Trump, the deal maker. This is absolutely awesome. This is winning for you, the USA. This is more jobs in America. This is us repatriating manufacturing. Let me know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate it. Now, we got one more story. This one is actually laughable. This is actually an absolutely laughable story. Check this out. We're going to spend a little teaser video here to start, but then we're going to dive into the fact that Candace Owens is getting sued. Check this out.
Which it is a fact, that Emmanuel Macron is married to a man. All in on this. Like, you read through these documents and you cannot, that's why Peter says you didn't even read them. Because you cannot in good conscience read these documents, and he doesn't even have the stomach to tell that kind of a lie. So instead he has to say, the theory is insane. It's too crazy for me to even read it. Read the documents. They spent 3 years working on this. It is insane. I mean, they have pictures down to the year where Brigitte got the Adam's apple surgery and just wore a scarf right around here for like 8 months straight as a teacher. And like you said, this would be the best part of the relationship. The truth is that Emmanuel Macron, best scenario, was statutorily raped by Brigitte, who was 39 years old at the time, and he was 14, and they fell in love.
She was 49, by the way. She was like way older.
But actually, she was 49, yeah. But even in the good version, she's 39. But actually, she's 10 years older. I mean, listen, I would tell you, the French people know this. They have been on fire for me, and they just feel like they are being so remarkably gaslit. Brigitte is a man with a lot of power, by the way. Like, Emmanuel Macron, when he's asked a question, turns to Brigitte, you know? Like, and what's the answer here? Because Brigitte is allegedly the person that's running and is the main power player.
So, if anybody doesn't know, Candace Owens did an entire series called Becoming Brigitte, in which she basically piggybacks off a whole bunch of research that was done by reporters in France that detailed the entire history of Brigitte Macron and the fact that she is actually them, and according to Candace, and I'm a believer in this one, she is actually Jean-Michel Trogneau, which essentially who ostensibly they say is her brother, but they've never actually been seen together. And they could easily put this all to bed. Take a walk on the beach with your brother, but they haven't done it. So Candace Owens is getting sued by the Macrons. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Now, just so you remember, all right, so let's dive into this one here. So here's the actual article. Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron launch defamation case against U.S. podcaster Candace Owens over ludicrous claim French First Lady was born a man. Now, it's not ludicrous. Now, realize that the Macrons actually lost their defamation lawsuit in France against the French reporters. So the Macrons sued French reporters in France, and the judge booted the case, said, no, there's no defamation here. So they've already lost in France, which makes it weirdly crazy that they would go, let's go sue in a foreign country that has freedom of speech, where we don't run the government, and where we would have to somehow prove actual malice, prove that Candace knew false, prove that she was doing it to be harmful, prove that there were damages. Like what damages? You're the sitting president of France. Like, and in a foreign country, there's absolutely nothing that's done in America that you could claim damages for. So the whole thing is weirdly ridiculous. Now, I want to play this video before we dive into Tim Pool. But check this out, because if everybody remembers this, this is when Brigitte attacked her own quote unquote husband. Check this out on the plane. There's the handprint. No, that's just AI right there. But so you've got this weird story. These people are absolutely nuts. So here's the 218-page lawsuit filed in Delaware. Now, where it's curious, because Candace, I believe, lives in Tennessee and her business is in Tennessee. I don't know where you would get jurisdiction in Delaware. But anyway, accuses Candace of publishing defamatory, outlandish, and far-fetched fictions. Among them, Brigitte was born male under the name Jean-Michel Trogneau. Now, if you have not seen it, go see Becoming Brigitte. It's like a 5-part series. It is a compelling watch, especially the first one, where she lays out the case that the French reporters built and then piggybacks on it. But I want to dive in because Tim Pool picked this up, and Tim Pool has some great things to say about this. This is absolutely classic. Here we go.
Streisand effect. Own family for claiming that Bridget Macron is in fact a man. Don't understand under what precedent they think they can actually sue Candace Owens for claiming that Bridget Macron is a man. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of context here. Candace Owens has been going off for some time, even while she was at the Daily Wire, claiming that Emmanuel Macron of France, the president, his wife, is actually a guy. And I think the conspiracy theory is that Bridget Macron is actually her brother and that she's a dude. And for this, I guess the Macrons decided, how can we make this story 1,000 times bigger? I think we should potentially rename the Streisand effect to the Candace Owens effect based on how big this story is going to get. Because they have filed a lawsuit.
If anybody doesn't know the Streisand effect, if you remember, she basically implored people not to go photograph her house because she wanted her privacy, which only caused millions of people to drive up and photograph her house. It had the exact opposite effect. Now, if the Macrons want this story to go away, suing Candace Owens in U.S. court is not going to make that happen. I mean, what makes me absolutely laugh about this, and I think Tim Pool's going to get into it, by suing in the United States, you have now opened yourself up to discovery. If I'm Candace Owens and her attorney team, I'm like, okay, fine. You want to prove that, first of all, because the first element of defamation, you have to prove that the claim is false. So if I'm Candace Owens' team, I'm like, I want a monitored DNA test. Our attorneys, your attorneys, and the testing agency, I want it fully monitored with chain of evidence, and do a DNA test on Brigitte. If they refuse, then you know this case is an absolute falsity. Because if she comes back with male DNA, you can't change that. You can change all the plumbing you want. You cannot change the DNA.
Against one of the biggest personalities in politics and podcasters in the world over this claim, guaranteeing that this will be top-line news everywhere. Let's go, my friends. Smash the like button right now. Share this with everyone you know and subscribe to this channel. It is on.
Yes, please. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. I agree with him.
Newsweek reports French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte have filed a defamation suit in the U.S. against conservative influencer Candace Owens over her claims that France's first lady is secretly a man. Now, I'm a fan. I like Candace Owens' work, and I am even more of a fan now. Tom Clare of Clare Locke, LLP, who is representing the Macrons, announced the lawsuit in a release on Wednesday, July 23rd. The Macrons filed their 218-page lawsuit, 218 pages, in the Superior Court of the state of Delaware. The lawsuit calls Owens' various claims outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions, and said they had caused relentless bullying on a worldwide scale, doing tremendous damage to the Macrons.
You're the president of France, and you're claiming you're getting bullied? You gotta be kidding me. You have the entire French military at your disposal, and your claim in your 218-page lawsuit, your biggest claim of damage is you got bullied on the world stage. My gosh. You cannot make this stuff up. I mean, this is reality TV at its finest.
You can't sue her for this. There's no damages. You're allowed to think someone's a man. And I got to be honest, based on this story and how they're reacting, I'm starting to think that maybe Bridget Macron actually is a man, because she's not going to, they aren't going to win any money from this case. Owens, a popular right-wing broadcaster, had posted to X in 2024, after looking into this, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Bridget Macron is in fact a man. What damages do you have? And I
First of
would like
all,
to
they will have to
introduce-
prove damage, but they also have to prove actual malice. And by Candace basically saying, I state my full reputation on the fact that she is a man, means that it is indicative of the fact that Candace actually believes it. If she actually believes it, even if it's not true, which I believe it is, even if it's not true, it still fails the actual malice test. So they're not going to win a bloody dime in this. But here's my prediction. The Discovery is going to be a complete sugar honey iced tea show. I will be watching this. When they actually start the process, when Discovery starts, I will be riveted to this news story to see what happens. Let me know what you think. This is absolutely amazing stuff. President Trump winning with a hat trick of trade deals. Candace Owens getting her biggest wish. Brigitte Macron suing her in U.S. court, forcing Discovery. And Tulsi Gabbard doubles down on the Obama treasonous conspiracy. What a wacky news day. Thanks everybody for showing up. Please, before you leave, smash that like button, subscribe. If you like this content, please share it with everybody that you know. And please consider joining us as a member of the Courageous Army. Help support the channel. Help us get back on the right side of the YouTube algorithm. Really appreciate it. You can hit the join button right there on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, God is good and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time.